Siku nema na karibu tena kwente kituo cha daktari anayoruka. Good day and welcome back to the Flying Doctor channel. Today we are in Kisumu, Kenya, a city that is to the northwest of the capital, Nairobi, which we will be heading to in about 2 or 3 hours. So, if you're interested in seeing what domestic and international business class is like on Kenya Airways, sit back, relax, get ready for another flight review. While I head to the airport, let me tell you what's in store for today's video. I'll first provide you my experience on Kenya Airways domestic product aboard one of their E190s departing from Kisumu, headed to the capital city of Nairobi. Before exploring the airport in Nairobi, I'll give you a recommendation for a travel guide in Kisumu if you ever have the opportunity to visit. While in Nairobi, we'll visit both the Plaza Premium and Simba Lounges. And finally, we'll board one of KQ's Dreamliners headed to Paris in business class. Today's journey begins at the small but quaint Kisumu International Airport. Let's see how check-in goes. One bag. Thank you. I bid to upgrade and I was accepted for the flight to Paris.
That's right. This one is business class.
Yeah?
This one is economy.
Yeah, but I was already charged. I was already paid for
When
this.
you get to Nairobi, request for that.
Okay.
They'll be able to check in the system. And this one for the house.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right.
My upgrade didn't really go through at the check-in stand, so I was advised to talk to gate agent at Nairobi. Just checked, and the flight to Paris is delayed until 2 a.m., so I don't know what the deal is. Hopefully, we do get to Paris. Until then, enjoy the scenes in the hustling, bustling metropolis airport of Kisumu. Hello.
Thank you.
Sante. All right, we are through the gate, headed onto the E190. I'm in seat 3 Alpha. There won't be any food service, drink service, or any sort of amenities available because of the short hop. 3 Alpha. 3 Alpha. Thank you. It looks like they board from the front and the rear of the aircraft. That's an efficient way to do things. And again, we do get to board from the apron. So, our aircraft today is 5 Yankee Foxtrot Alpha. Let's get on board and check out the seat. Hello.
Good evening. What's he doing?
Thank you. All right, on board. First impressions, the pillow is a nice added touch. Yes, so pillow on the seat. How's the pillow? It's actually decent. It's pretty firm. It's not just full of air. So it could be used if this were a longer flight. Anything else in the seat here, in the seat back in front, we have a Caribou magazine. And what else we got here? Miss Safiri, whatever that is. Membership and promoting the Asante rewards. We got E190 safety card as well as your vomit collection bag. I did see the FA had a platter of drinks. That is actually not something that I was expecting to see, so let's see what they have for us. Hello. I'll have water. Thank you. Thank you, Sante. So there's apple juice, orange juice, and water. No alcoholic beverages. No big deal though, I don't often drink. I could go for a nice water to quench my thirst.
My name is Captain Kennedy Musimba, with me and cabin assistant by First Officer Alex Comer, in charge of the cabin days of flight person Eric, assisted by Phoebe. Karibuni sana, enjoy the flight, and we're going to be getting back to you just before we commence our descent to Nairobi.
So there really isn't much to this flight actually, and unfortunately because it's dark out we can't really check out any cool sights because Kenya is a beautiful country. Later on in this video I will show you some of the beautiful places that you can see, experience the culture, the food. It's quite the place, and I can see why so many people are interested in touring or visiting Kenya. Let's take a better look at the business class seat. KQ's E190s are configured with 12 business class seats in the front of the cabin and 84 economy seats in the aft. A universal power socket is available on the forward-facing lower seat post, as well as a 3.5mm headphone jack. Legroom was ample, and each armrest contained a slide-out cup holder. An IFE system is provided for each passenger, which we will look a little closer at on the next flight. If you are blindfolded and brought on board, the only features inside of KQ's E190 cabin that may indicate what airline you are on would be the Swahili in certain places and the KQ headrests.
Computers, games, and personal music players may interfere with the proper operation of aircraft systems and must be switched off when the seatbelt sign is illuminated, for takeoff and for landing. Mobile phones may not be used at any time aboard this aircraft.
The in-flight safety video implies that all devices must be turned off, which I don't think the flight crew enforces or any of the passengers would listen to. Not much out the window would give away that I'm in Africa right now, but if you fly into or out of Nairobi, you can sometimes see Mount Kilimanjaro if the weather cooperates. On my flight to Kisumu, I was lucky enough to spot it out the window. We've already begun our initial descent, so once we get under the cloud layer here, we'll see what we can spot out the window before we land at Nairobi.
Mabibi na mabwana, karibuni kwenye uwanja wa kimataifa wa Jomo Kenyatta. A very warm welcome to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi. Ladies and gentlemen, for your own safety and comfort, please do remain seated with the seatbelt fastened until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and the seatbelt signs have been switched off.
Alright, here we are in Nairobi. It's a little chillier, more humid, seems like it just rained, and we're going to be bussed over to the domestic terminal where we will figure out if we really are upgraded to business class on the Dreamliner. The domestic arrivals terminal in Nairobi consists of a single baggage belt. If you thought Disney made up the term Hakuna Matata when making Lion King, it's actually a phrase used in Swahili that translates to no trouble or no worries. Before we walk over to check-in at the international terminal, here is some of that natural beauty I witnessed while in Kisumu. When traveling to an international destination, I prefer more immersive experiences that will give me a better idea of what life truly is like in the land I am visiting. Large cities across the world are very similar, and for good reason, but I'm not the type of person who travels just to tick a box off my list or say that I've been somewhere. To truly experience local customs and get a feel for what life is like, you need to venture outside of these tourist districts. This sort of activity inherently involves risks, so finding a reputable company or tour guide is essential. Being guided by someone or a group of people who know the area can not only prevent you or your group from getting ripped off, scammed, or let down, it could also mean the difference between life and death.
What I like with these people is that they are contented.
Enter Daniel Palicon, a local who's lived in the Kisumu area his entire life and provided nature excursions, birdwatching adventures, tours of Lake Victoria, and more as a guide. Daniel took myself and a couple of colleagues on a wonderful tour of Lake Victoria, where we witnessed hippos in the wild, various native bird species, customs of the local people, a local fishing village, and more, all whilst Daniel narrated along the ride. Because of his knowledge, there is no script he follows during the excursion, ensuring a unique experience on a small group tour. I told him while I was in country, and I'll reiterate through this video, the next time I'm in Kisumu, I plan to contact him for a more extensive tour. If you are visiting anywhere within the Kisumu, Kenya region, I strongly encourage you to get in contact with Daniel and plan an amazing adventure. Check out the video description on how to get in contact with Daniel. Back at the airport, it was time to plead my case to the ticketing agent as instructed by staff in Kisumu.
Okay, well, after a bit of convincing and proving that I did indeed pay to upgrade from business class, she was able to switch out my boarding pass. So it looks like I am now in 4 Golf. It's unfortunately an aisle seat, but maybe I can convince the person next to me to let me film out the window occasionally. Either way, it's time to head over to passport control and then on to security. So once we're airside, we'll check out a lounge and get a little bit more information about today's flight.
I was eager to explore the airport, and that I did. If you are interested in seeing what Jomo Kenyatta looks like from the inside, check out my Rollerboard Diary series, where you can experience the atmosphere inside Kenya's capital city airport. On to the obligatory lounge review.
Alright, here we are at the Plaza Premium Lounge at the opposite end of the airport that I had entered in. No big deal, we got a nice walk through the airport, and judging by the stories that I've heard about the airport having undergone some sort of massive fire in the last 10 or so years and struggling to rebuild, it does look like they're making some good progress and headway and redeveloping and bringing in some international stores as well as embracing the Kenyan culture. So I'm just grabbing a quick bite to eat here, Cajun flavored home fries as well as traditional Moroccan meatballs and a Coke Zero. Definitely gonna go check out one of the other lounges here pretty soon. But until then, let me eat a bit and we'll get back into the airport.
I also had a piece of cheesecake, which was excellent, but I didn't fill up too much because I needed to make the most of my time at the airport. The bathrooms within Plaza Premium were clean and tidy. Trekking back to the opposite end of the airport, I wanted to check out the Simba Lounge, which is where I spent the remainder of my time before boarding tonight's flight. As a business class passenger, access is included with your ticket, but priority pass should also get you in. After checking in, the food and beverage area is immediately on the right. You will pass 2 rooms on the left as you walk straight towards the windows, and a narrow sliver of space hosts a handful of high tables. The lounge was well furnished, had a decent variety of seating options, and of course food. While the lounge lacks a traditional bar, there are plenty of self-serve drink options available. A bonus to me was that they had bottled water in the refrigerator and at room temperature. There was a made-to-order station and a variety of different foods. As a whole, the food was acceptable and passed my 3 main requirements, so no complaints. The bathroom was clean, and the shower suites looked quite refreshing. Finally, boarding time was nearing, so let's make our way to the gate.
Thank you.
Alright, we are all on board. Not all of us, but I am. Business class is situated in a 222 layout here on the Kenya Airways Dreamliner. It is a full lie flight with seat partner next to me. Need to try and be a little friendly so I can get that window view as we arrive into Paris. It's quite an interesting boarding process, having gone through the gate onto the ramp and then up the stairs. Why don't we use the jet bridge? Looks like some drinks are coming down the aisle by the FA, so let's see if there's anything different than what was served on the E190. Right, glasses off, doors armed, cross-check complete. It is 1:58 a.m. We are 8 minutes behind the delayed departure time of 1:50 a.m. So, assuming we are good to go and don't encounter any other future delays, we should be good to go to Paris and onwards to our next adventure. Once the doors were shut, I experienced my first gassing. I think this deserves some attention because if you're not paying attention to what is being spoken over the intercom and you're not familiar with the process, I can imagine some people freak the f*** out. Some countries require flights arriving from certain destinations be treated with insecticides to prevent the spread of vector-borne diseases like malaria, dengue, West Nile, or several other arthropod-borne viruses that can cause severe morbidity and mortality. The flight attendants walked down the aisle of the plane spraying an aerosolized pyrethroid, most likely permethrin, resmethrin, or diphenhydramine, which kill adult insects. Before getting completely settled in for departure, let's take a look at the food menu. There are 3 options available on tonight's flight: spicy meatballs with a vegetable spring roll, chicken brochette and vegetable cutlet, or a vegetable samosa with the vegetable cutlet. An almond and lemon cream tart was served for dessert. A variety of alcoholic drinks are available to help wash down the meal. While in hindsight I regret not at least trying one of the meals, sleep was a priority on this flight. Before we get airborne, let's take a look at tonight's flight. Flying us north tonight is 5 Yankee Kilo Zulu Hotel, named the Aberdare Range, which was delivered new to Kenya in 2015. The 4,035-mile journey will take 8 hours and 42 minutes, and we will pass over multiple countries into the morning, including Uganda, Sudan, Chad, Libya, Tunisia, and Algeria, before we cut across the Mediterranean and onto France. Airborne and past 10,000 feet, decided to recline. A little challenging getting the bed set up, but we are in a lie flat position. It is definitely not suitable for someone more than 6 feet 4 inches. As you can see, my head is at the edge, and well, my legs are definitely not able to fully extend, but guess what? This is 100 times better than an economy seat. I'll take it any day, and I look forward to getting some decent sleep. So until I wake up, let's go over the seat itself while past me tries to sleep. Awaiting passengers at each seat were a pad for the seat, duvet, and pillow. As you sit down, you'll notice the extensive legroom available. I was in a bulkhead seat which had a screen displaying the flight map throughout the entire duration. You'll find your seat controls on the center console. I didn't pay much attention when the lead FA provided a demonstration, so moving the seat into a full lay-flat position took a little bit of troubleshooting. Underneath the armrest are where you'll find a cup holder, the IFE remote, a universal power outlet, and a USB plug. There is a minor privacy divider that slides up out of the center console. If you're feeling self-conscious about someone watching you sleep, well, you'll just have to get over it. Now, I do own other dress socks, but why wouldn't I wear Delta branded socks on a plane? The tray table slides up out of the forward part of the console, and I found it was quite sturdy. The table can rotate 90 degrees, allowing passengers with a small enough waistline the ability to get out of their seat without having to clear off the tray table. The IFE system is pulled out from the console, swivels 90 degrees, and then rotates up, allowing you to interact with it. If you watch my recent video in economy class with Kenya Airways, you will know I'm not a fan of these outdated resistive touch screens. KQ's media catalog is relatively small. The in-flight map is disappointing, and the IFE games and shopping options were unavailable. My priority on tonight's flight was sleep though, and my time over in Dreamland was ending, so let's see how I slept. Well, good morning.
Sleeping was a bit difficult, especially with my height, but I'm glad that I was able to get some sleep. The bed is not that comfortable. The mattress provider or the comforter that they provide is a little on the thin side. The blanket I find is acceptable, kept me warm. The pillow does the job, but you can feel all of the seams and the bits and pieces behind that padding in the seat, so just bear that in mind. Get up, do a bit of stretching, check out the restroom, stay tuned.
The KQ business class lavs are, well, just like every other lav on the plane. Hand soap, tissues, hand towels, and butt roll is where the toiletry amenities end. I do find the lack of distinction between business class and economy labs disappointing, and the fact that an empty plastic tray of some sort exists suggests that at a time KQ provided additional products in the forward labs. I wonder what happened.
Let's take a look and see what is inside the Kenya Airways Business Class Amenity Kit. Very basic eye mask, cheap non-branded socks, earplugs, dental kit, wooden comb, and a non-branded pen. The bag is unique. It's somewhat of a cork, but very basic amenity kit. No lotion, face mist, lip balm. I'm looking forward to getting a meal since I skipped out on dinner.
As the cabin began to illuminate and the smell of breakfast filled the air, FAs passed out hot towels to business class passengers, confirmed meal requests, and took drink orders. Up until this point, my experience with KQ's business class product had been lackluster and underwhelming. But here is where my flight took a turn. I had ordered the grilled beef sausage and a cappuccino. Shortly thereafter, I pulled out my tray table for the FA to lay out the fitted tablecloth, which was followed by the cappuccino I ordered. The red embroidery on the tablecloth, stencil on the china, and branded spoon each indicated food service was a focal point of the business class product.
Well, breakfast has arrived, and look at the branding. This is excellent. Nice little salt and pepper shakers. Whoops. Tablecloth, all of the plates, napkin, placemat, everything's branded. It's beautiful. Let's see how the food pairs. Okay, I have had a little bit of everything thus far. It's pretty tasty. One of the things I noticed when I was in Kenya was that the beef that was served was quite different from Western beef. And I don't mean that it tasted different, at least where I grew up and the way that I was raised. Eating steak in the US, fat, unless it's a marbled steak of some Wagyu or, filet mignon, usually trim the fat and eat the meat portion. In Kenya, they utilize every piece. They include the fat, they eat the fat, and that's just what they do. Now I opted for the beef sausage with sauteed spinach, mushrooms, and I believe that's a banana. And it tastes pretty good. It is a different kind of beef. Obviously, it's in sausage form, but it's tasty. The presentation is excellent. Great job, Kenya Airways. I love the branding. It's superb. I'm gonna try and find a way to sneak one of the salt and pepper shakers into my bag. Maybe.
or the cappuccino cup. Yep, great job with the branding. I'd like to see that in economy class as well. Make the experience in economy regardless of how much you pay. That pride of Africa. We're gonna finish up eating. We will be beginning our initial descent into Charles de Gaulle Airport here momentarily. The sunrise always gives me a new burst of energy after an overnight flight, and today was no different as we descended over Central France into Paris. I like to let my thoughts marinate a bit in my brain before providing summaries, so as the clouds give way to the Parisian green below, allow me to elaborate on tonight's journey. A bid to upgrade program has been growing in popularity across the aviation industry. These programs allow the airline to sell unsold premium seats to the highest bidder and give passengers the chance to fly in a more forward cabin for much less than the typical sticker price. I took advantage of this scheme and paid an additional $60 for the flight from Kisumu to Nairobi and $525 for the flight from Nairobi to Paris. Now that I know what the business class product is like on both aircraft, I'd probably avoid bidding to upgrade on a short flight with KQ in the future. The long haul is another question though. If you're shorter than me, less than 193 centimeters, the lie flat seat is long enough to lay fully extended. Just be aware that the pad provided to cushion the seat could be a little thicker.
Karibuni Ufaransa, mabibi na mabwana, tumetua kwenye uwanja wa kimataifa wa Charles de Gaulle mjini Paris. Good morning ladies and gentlemen and welcome to France. We have just landed at Paris Charles de Gaulle.
Bienvenue mesdames et messieurs, l'aéroport Charles de Gaulle à Paris.
The FAs on tonight's flight were helpful and polite when I did interact with them, and I'd say that this crew was probably better than the one I interacted with on the economy flight from London. Where KQ stood out to me was with food, and no, I don't mean the taste. I've made a point on this channel to let you know that I'm not a foodie, and the requirements to pass my food standards are very low. That being said, the meal served did pass all three of my requirements. Where KQ impresses though is the presentation. The Kenyan flag carrier has nailed this aspect of the business class product in my opinion.
Really sounds like interesting.
Alright, well, there you have it. Business class with Kenya Airways on 5 Yankee Kilo Zulu Hotel. So, next up, I'm going to try and find a lounge, get a little refreshing after going through security and passport control, customs, whatever. For KQ's business class product to compete with other airlines, more resources need to be devoted to improve the rest of the airline's premium products. I'm not an airline executive, but small improvements to the business class lavatories or the amenity kit can't cut that much into the profit per seat mile. Regardless of my critiques, I'm still happy I had the chance to fly in KQ's business class and enjoyed the experience. I said this in my last video reviewing their economy class, but I really think that KQ has a lot of potential. I expect to see the airline grow significantly as we enter the latter half of the 2020s. The pandemic is over, tourism returning, on average Africa in general is economically strengthening and growing, and the interconnectedness of today's world make traveling easier than ever. Here's to many more years of flying with the SkyTeam Alliance, KQ, and many more years as Kenya's national flag carrier. Until next time, thanks for watching. See ya.